It's been almost a month now since Gil Scott Heron died, and I still feel like I can't really talk about it. When someone dies who meant a lot to you, even though you only knew them as a public figure, it can be hard to know what to do with the grief. I mean, I grew up on Gil Scott Heron in a way I did with few other artists. He's such a big part of who I am. So when I found out we had lost Gil, it felt so personal for a bunch of different reasons that I felt like I didn't want to do the things a media person or a social media person usually does for a public figure who died. I didn't feel like I wanted to go on Twitter. I didn't want to make a tribute video. It felt too personal to be televised, for lack of a better word. But I also felt conflicted because my connection with Gil Scott Heron was through the media. Getting to know someone through vinyl and a pair of headphones is a very intimate connection in its own way, but I still never met Gil Scott Heron. I came to love him through his music. I knew him through the media. So when he died, even though it felt really personal, I also had an instinct to look for something in the media that would help me process that really personal sense of loss. So it became this peculiar tug of war between feeling like I needed to be alone with my grief and feeling like I needed the media to keep me company in my grief. And that's really weird, isn't it? It really made me think about how dependent I am on mass media to validate my life experiences. And I don't think I'm the only one who does that, am I? I feel like we're all pushed in that direction where we expect all our experiences to be validated by mass media, and we expect each other to validate all our experiences through social media. It's like this KFC double down of media dependency. And you can see it really clearly whenever somebody famous dies. Like if you watch how we react to death on the internet, that media dependency has added an extra stage to our grieving process that consists of going on the internet to critique everyone else's grieving process. So many of us jump on Twitter right away to make an RIP tweet and then spend the next 10 hours hating on everybody else's RIP tweets. Worst grieving ever. You don't even know who she is. You're just grieving because it's trendy. I was grieving for her back when grieving for her was underground. I keep it real with my grief. If you love her so much, why weren't you grieving for her when she was alive? When a celebrity dies, the whole internet turns into a battleground of grief one-upmanship. And much as I may think that's ridiculous, I'm just as susceptible to it as everyone else. And it's exactly what I got caught up in when Gil Scott Heron died. I told myself I wanted to be alone with it, but pretty soon I found myself looking on Twitter to see what people are saying, looking in all the newspapers to read the obituaries, and I started getting mad at almost everybody. I started yelling at my screen like, oh my God, none of you people get it. Why does everyone just keep going on about how he invented hip hop? He's so much deeper than that. That's not what makes him important. Stop talking about that one song like that's the only song he made. Doesn't anyone understand? And it wasn't until I went back and listened to that one song again that I finally snapped out of it. Gil Scott Heron made so many amazing songs, but his most famous record, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, if you go back and listen to it, that song was basically a commentary on everything that I started doing after he died. He tried to warn us in 1970 that we can never expect life's meaning to be defined or validated or served up to us on that screen. And 40 years later, that warning was here for me right when I needed it. So I guess I just want to thank Gil for having one last lesson for me, for reminding me of what you can't get from this connection, and for showing me everything you can get from this connection, for everything he gave me over the years with his music, and everything he taught me about how we treat each other and how we treat ourselves. Even if nobody up on this screen ever understands it, I'm always going to remember everything Gil Scott Heron gave to me, and that's the only thing that matters. Which is why I'm going to turn this camera off right now and go spend some time with his music.
All I can say is peace. Peace go with your brother.